Hi everyone, this is a video guide for the MS08-067 exploit. As the title suggests, it also can be used as a walkthrough for the Hack the Box legacy challenge. The legacy machine is susceptible to MS08-067, but this exploit will obviously work on any box that has this vulnerability present. We are going to use a legacy machine on Hack the Box for demonstration purposes though. So we are going to treat this as a walkthrough, so although it's looking at MS08-067, we are going to walk through on the legacy box. So our first step when we're doing this would be to look at scanning the box for any vulnerabilities, so that's what we are going to do first. Just before we do the scan, I do want to confirm that the box is actually live. So let's ping 10.10.10.4. As we can see there, it is online. That is the legacy box IP address. So I do have the VPN connected in the background, and we have confirmed that the legacy machine is actually online. So from there, let's look to do our initial nmap scan. So we'll first look to do a scan. I'm just going to leave the default as the first 1000 ports when we're doing this. I don't see the point in wasting any time. Actually, I've got a typo there, so you'll soon see that my typing isn't great. So we're going to launch the first scan, looking at the first 1000 ports, just to try and expedite this and see what ports may be available. So let's get that scan to run through, and we'll see the results in a second. So now we have the scan results here. You may have noticed that because I ran verbose output, that it did identify the first couple of ports as the scan was actually running initially, but I did want to let it run for completeness here. So looking at the end report, we can see that ports 139 and 445 are open in this scan. Those are of course ports for SMB, and what I would now look to do is launch a further scan against these ports in particular and look to establish if they are susceptible to any vulnerabilities. So we will look to launch another nmap scan here, and we're going to specifically specify ports 139 and 445 against our legacy host, which is on 10.10.10.4. Now this time the change we're going to make is we're going to use the scripting engine within nmap, and we're going to launch the vulnerability module, which we'll use with the abbreviation vuln. So we will launch this scan, and here we can see the results from the targeting of these ports. Now if we look at the results here and we scroll up, we will see that there is indeed the vulnerability of MS08-067 on the legacy machine. It's been identified as vulnerable, and that's what we'll look to target. You may also notice that there is also the MS17-010, also known as Eternal Blue, which could be used, but as I say, this is focused on the MS08-067. So from here, I would then launch Searchsploit to target this particular exploit. And as we can see, we've got a number of options available to us, but I'm going to focus on the 40279.py. So I would then use the locate command to locate this on our local Kali install. And as we can see, we've got the complete path listed here. That's the local path, so I would then copy that path, and then what I'm going to look to do here is use the copy command to take a local copy of this script and place it in one of our own directories, so we've got a second copy that we can write without fear of making any mistakes. So I cancelled out that command because I've already done one here, as you can see by my ls command, so that's fine. We've got the code listed there. So then we would look to go ahead and start making the necessary amendments to this code. Okay, so from within the script here, what we're going to have to do is amend the shell code in order to make this exploit work. So commented here in red is the necessary parts that we need to do. Within the code specified here, it gives you the exact syntax that we need to use within MSF Venom to get this working. However, as I'm highlighting here, the code in this actual script specifies Meterpreter, which means we would need to use Metasploit in order to use this script, which is not what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to do this without the use of Metasploit, so I'm going to make a change. This next part that I'm highlighting here, that's the NOP sled, that bit actually stays in here. We do not take that bit out. When we generate our shell code, we will be looking to take just these parts out of the code and replace with the shell code that we generate from MSF Venom. So, as I say, just that part, we'll leave the part just above it. So we will generate our own code and replace that part there. So we will now exit the script here and then look to make our own shellcode. Okay, so I've zoomed in here a wee bit, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in the syntax for MSF Venom. Now you'll notice here that this is my syntax that I've altered slightly. So the first thing you'll notice is that I have changed it from Meterpreter to a standard reverse shell here. Now the reason I'm doing that is I want to catch this in Netcat. As I previously discussed, I want to do this without the use of Metasploit. So that's the first thing I've changed. The other thing I've added at the end here is a -v so that I can add the shell code syntax so that I don't have to replace the buff syntax that would ordinarily appear. So that certainly is helpful because it gives us less editing to do. The other thing that I would take note of here that wasn't in the original syntax is that I've added a -s and a -n switch. This is due to the fact that this payload needs to be 410 bytes to operate correctly. So what I've done is I've set the -s to set it to 410 and added the -n to include 30 bytes of NOP sled as well. Now it doesn't come out exact, and I will explain this further later how we can correct this, but like I say, this exploit to work, it needs to be 410 bytes. So we will look to ensure that that is the case, and I will explain that further later. So here's the code listed here. As I say, I used the -v switch, which allows the shellcode variable to appear down the left hand side, which will save us altering that aspect of the payload. However, there has been a B added here next to the inverted comma that we will have to change when we insert this into the script. So let me reduce this in size so that I can see the whole script here, or the shellcode, sorry, and we will copy that, and then we will go back into our script here and insert that shellcode. So we'll delete the current contents there, and we shall paste our own shellcode in. Now, as I say, this B has to be removed from the code. You could do it manually. I'm going to do a search and replace. Notice I did do a space before the B there, and I will then do a space again, replace. So I'll replace all, and as you can see, the syntax is corrected and it looks as it should. All we need to do from that point is save the exploit and proceed from there. When exiting that, I'm going to clear this terminal up a bit, so I'll launch a clear command here. Now before we can run this, I've neglected to say there's actually another piece of information that we actually need here from the script, an option to run this. So if we scroll down here, we'll see that there's different options depending on the operating system. Now I know that this is Windows XP Service Pack 3, so we need option 6 as is highlighted here. So we need to append that to the code when we're running it, which I will show you in a second. Now the other thing I need to highlight here is that I said before, this script needs to be, or the payload needs to be 410 bytes in length, or it will not work. Okay? So I've added a piece of my own code into the script here, which is what I've highlighted here, the print length shellcode. Now this will tell us exactly the length of the shellcode when we run this script. As I say, it needs to be 410 bytes in length, so what we'll do is we'll run that, and when we run it, it will tell us what the shellcode length is. Now, first time I run this, I'm going to deliberately run this with an incorrect shellcode length, and it will show us that when we're running it. Okay, so I'm going to split my screen here so I can set up the netcat listener for us. So I'm going to set it up on port 4444, and then return to the original screen here, and we're going to launch the script using against the legacy box on 10.10.10.4 with option 6 for XP Service Pack 3. We'll hit return, and as you can see, the payload length here is 409. It's not the required 410. Okay, now the script says it's initiating connection, connected, and exploit is finished, but we have not caught a shell on the right hand side. As I'm highlighting here, the payload length, or the shellcode, sorry, is 409 bytes. That needs to be 410 or you will not catch it. Okay, now I'm going to show you how you can add that to get it up there. So if we go up to the NOP sled here, and all we're going to do is, we're only one short, we're at 409, so we're going to add another /x90 into the NOP sled, and that will take us from the 409 up to the 410 that is required to make this script run. I did want to demonstrate this because it is crucial to making this exploit work, or this script for the exploit work, should I say. So again, we're going to run the exact same command again, option 6, but when we run it this time, you will see that it's 410 bytes, and over on the right hand side you can see that we've immediately caught the reverse shell on netcat. Now, as part of the walkthrough for Legacy, what we can do here, I'll go through and I'll show you where you can get the flags to complete the challenge. So it's Windows XP, so it's old, it's not the users folder, it's documents and settings. So we go into the documents and settings folder there, then we'll go into the user folder, which is John in this case. So we'll go into John and we go into desktop because that's where the flag is usually stored. And if I list the contents there, you can see that user.txt is listed. Now to see that, what you would do is use the command type and then the file name. Now I'm not going to put it up there so you can do this challenge yourself to go away and get that, so I'm just going to clear the contents there. So that's the first flag, and the second flag would be located in the administrator folder. So similar thing again, we'll go into the administrator folder, then we'll go into the desktop, and when we're in the desktop, we'll list the contents, you can see the root.txt file there. Again, use the type command and then root.txt to get the flag. And that would be the walkthrough complete. Again, this was showing the MS08-067 and also the legacy box walkthrough. The 410 bytes was crucial for me to get this working. I hope this helps you in your endeavours. So thank you for your time and best of luck.